and welcome to Level Up and Friends, the podcast where those of us from the video game and comic book store Level Up Entertainment get together every so often with some friends and talk about things we're interested in. This week we're talking about Gwenpool, Fortnite's own, a character I've really enjoyed for a long time, and this seems just as good excuse as any to finally talk about her. I'm your host, Scott, and joining me this week
is Hudson, aka Spider Knight, of the Spectacular Spider Talk podcast, where we talk about Spider-Man comics. We're currently reading through the Ditko run, and I've been friends with Scott for a while, and pretty much our main connective tissue was Gwenpool, so made sense to he asked me to come on, and I was like,
yeah.
sure, it's fun.
Yeah, and Gwenpool has made me download Fortnite for the first time, so that's been fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been playing it for a while, the battle pass was like, okay, yeah, no, I got that, and they had Mysterio, so I need that too.
I'll eventually, well, they have Doctor Doom eventually, so I'll have to grind like crazy to get him.
Yeah, I think
But
just yeah.
but in case anyone doesn't know, Gwenpool, she's half Gwen Stacy, half Deadpool, right?
Mm, yeah, obviously. I mean, it's
Yeah.
in game, right? And
Well,
she's blonde.
so we
She's
should
blonde.
we should we should point out, Gwenpool's got kind of a weird, interesting origin. So when the original Spider-Verse comic event was happening, one of the new Spider-Man characters that they came up like with the universe was if Gwen Stacy had become Spider-Man instead.
Yeah.
And
Originally, she was
colloquially
supposed.
known as Spider-Gwen
Yeah,
by fans.
yeah,
Um, so Marvel was at the time was doing like monthly variants that were like themed. So one month they just did like the Avengers and like everyone's just like a spider like a Gwen Stacy version. And Deadpool's Secret Wars #2, the variant cover for that was Gwenpool's Secret Wars.
by
And
Cello.
yeah, Chris Bachalo or Bacalo, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Uh
Another.
yeah. Uh so she at the time, for me, I thought this was the dumbest like promotion in the world. And I'm already not a Deadpool fan, so I was just like, oh, whatever, and just skipped past it. However, I was really big Howard the Duck guy, so I was reading his book as it was coming out. And Howard the Duck Volume 6, #1, started having a backup story with Gwenpool in the back of it because she became such a popular character for like cosplaying, I believe, in the
Yeah,
wake of that comic cover. And I was just like, oh, whatever, and ignored her. Because that backup story, I don't think was, I still maintain isn't all that great. But I'm a big sucker for holiday issues, and she was like a major part of that Christmas issue, and that's when Guri Hiru was first drawing her, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. Uh,
yes, yeah,
and that's
yeah,
how I got into Gwenpool. So, and then when they showed Unbelievable Gwenpool with Guri Hiru's art, I was like, I kind of want to check this out, and I fell in love immediately.
yeah.
Say,
So
did you find her like right away like that, or
no, I did not. I was younger. I wasn't like I was into comics, but it was mostly whatever I had to find at the library. Keeping up monthly comics was just like not really an option for me. Kid with like almost no money or any way to get to a comic shop. So, but how I did discover the character was literally I was just scrolling through Pinterest, and I guess I found a page of Gwenpool, and I just was enamored by Guri Hiro's art. And I was like, okay, what's this all about? And so I eventually was like, okay, her name's Gwenpool. Is this? And then it was like I discovered it's like, okay, she's her own character, she's her own thing. And so I just like went through page after page that I could find on like it was a lot like some of it was like from the end of the issue and of like 2025.
Mhm.
So it was after the character or like the first solo was canceled, and then
Okay.
I got into it late, but that was kind of it. Like I was like, oh hey, there she is in Lego Marvel Superheroes too. But also, I didn't have video games growing up, so there wasn't much I could do with more I could do with that. But eventually, I got Marvel Unlimited, and a couple of my friends were really recommending the Unbelievable Gwenpool, and it's something that I did want to read because I'd had an interest in the character. I always liked her, but after that, I was like, all right, fine. I was hearing that, oh, she's in this Love Unlimited thing, and it's like, all right, that's cool, good for her. And then I was reading a few issues. I was really liking it. I was very much enjoying it. I was like, all right, I'm really liking this. And then the news hit that Gwen Poole was asexual. They said the word for the first time ever in a Marvel comic. I was like, holy crud. Wait, what? That she's like me. You're saying she's like me. And upon that, I had only read like 3 issues of Unbelievable Gwenpool, and I basically just impulse bought the omnibus just because of that announcement.
Yeah.
And also, I had work points saved up, so I technically didn't even spend any real money, but I still got the omnibus. Like it's on my shelf right there. Like I I have more than just the 5 omnibuy, however, but like those I put place her among like JMS Spider-Man, Batman Grant Morrison, Marv Wolfman, Perez, New Teen Titans, Brubaker, Catwoman. Like I put her on that echelon, and I have like Ultimate Spider-Man and that Paul Dini Batman on another shelf. So it's like that should probably tell you something.
Pretty good echelon. I would disagree about Morrison's Batman, but that's a different
It's the Dick
conversation.
Grayson era, which to each their own. I recognize that my opinions on Morrison's Batman differ from many others. I have
Well,
friends who absolutely despise Damian Wayne, and someone's like, all
lo
right,
long story short, Grant Morrison stuff, I either love it or I hate it, and I have no in between.
yeah,
And that just happens to be one of the ones I don't like. But that's we're getting off track on that.
right,
So yeah, you kind of came to Gwenpool kind of late. Like, so I had an earlier episode of the podcast. Like, I have a mini series in it where we called Q and Gay, where we talk about different LGBT issues. And like, I had an asexuality episode because that's where I discussed my own experiences with it.
yeah,
I also discussed my experiences with it in the Why Representation Matters because I
right,
found out I was asexual because, BoJack Horseman had an asexual character that like learned about it. And
about
him
that,
learning about it taught me about it because I'd never heard about it before. Uh,
yeah. Like, I think I was in. I think it was right when the pandemic hit, and I was just wondering, and I was just like had a lot more time to think about things and myself, and I was like, you know, I kind of don't like this thing.
yeah.
What's that called? And then I just looked up what is that? What is that when you don't feel this way? And I heard this word asexual, and I was like, huh. And then I looked more into it, and it's just like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. It was
Yeah.
a little
But
easier time of figuring it out, but still,
well, I'm jealous that you were able to come to that conclusion younger than I was. But I wanted to point out that I was reading Gwenpool before I knew about that, and I already had like fallen in love with her. That was just like a special, like I remember because I wasn't reading I don't have Marvel Unlimited, so I wasn't reading any of the digital comics. So
yeah,
I wasn't reading that book where she came out.
yeah,
And they shockingly have never printed it.
yeah. I
'Cause
don't
usually
think
a lot of that stuff eventually hits print.
I think I think I kind of want to write about it, but also I get nervous about writing emails to like Marvel editors, just because.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like if they did do a printed edition, it would be like in a Love Unlimited collection. They wouldn't
Oh,
just. But like, I feel like that there's a market for that.
well,
But
I also have the omnibus, and now it's incomplete because that's not in it.
exactly,
I'm
it's
super
like,
annoyed. I have to buy another one when they make a new one.
yeah, it's like
But
Gwenpool this volume 2, the run where I get to where it includes my run. Haha, wouldn't that be funny?
yeah, oh yeah, she's a character I would love to write at some point.
Same.
Yeah, so we should talk a little bit about the Unbelievable Gwenpool, her 25 issue solo series, which is crazy. She went she total sort of went 26 because they did issue 0, which was the backup from 3 issues of Howard the Duck.
Yeah,
But
they
she
just
went 25 new material, like issues of new material, which is crazy because Marvel books don't last like more than 4 or 5 anymore.
I know it's like even like the big sellers like the Guardians of the Galaxy or like Black Widow, just like they can barely get past 10 issues, and it's like, so what is the market now? Because
I It almost feels
it's
like they're writing potentially to the graphic novel market, but like
yeah,
those are shorter than graphic novels used to be, and they haven't gone down in price. It's really annoying.
yeah, and like Immortal 4 was like $30 for the trade. And it's like, okay, which thankfully I was able to get that at the library, so I didn't have to pay that ridiculousness. But yeah, it's just
Well, if you're gonna pay that ridiculous, I know a good store you can buy it from.
right. But
But no,
yeah,
I get it. I'm
it
frustrated
is.
as a fan and as a retailer by a lot of Marvel stuff. Another part of the problem is like Marvel stuff, they don't keep any of their trades in print. Like you
I
know,
know.
Gwenpool
Like
just came out in Fortnite. It was a big success. All of a sudden, everyone I know and I see online is talking about Gwenpool and discovering this character. I've actually had people come in asking about her, and like that does not happen no matter how many people watch these movies. And I was like, oh, the only thing I can get in stock is the omnibus, and it's like $125. And like
exactly,
I can't put that in the hands of someone who's just curious,
exactly.
like
It's,
it's
it's
frustrating.
right. Like I don't know. Maybe like do like a reprint where you put like I don't know, like a like you put the the two first volumes in like maybe like like the first two and a half volumes for the for like a big collection.
I mean, they could do like the whole series in 2 volumes of the like that like Scholastic all ages size that
Right.
they did.
And
Like
like
it's appropriate enough for that.
and
Like
like you
she's not Deadpool. She's not so vulgar and violent. Like
yeah, there is some violence, but
no
if
more than there is in like Hawkeye, or Miss Marvel.
like when Cecil gets disintegrated, it's not like completely horrifying, which is kind of crazy that like that Gwenpool could have been a little darker because originally it was going to be Bullseye instead of Modoc, but
Yeah, I'm
Charles
glad
Soule,
it was Modoc. I
yeah,
love
because
Modoc in general.
yeah, and like a friend when I was doing a whole read through and I was posting my thoughts online, I I got comments like Modoc works for better for this because he's decidedly not scary, like out of the which he's not scary, which is what makes him scary when he actually does something like, yeah, I'm just gonna disintegrate this person right in front of you. Bam.
Yeah, it makes it comes out of nowhere. And like, no spoilers, but like it doesn't stop him from being in the series. So it's not like dead, you know what I mean?
And like, yeah. And the only most other like violent moment I would say is just Gwenpool like mowing down all those henchmen in the flashback. Like
Yeah.
that's the only like violent only other violent part that's like, yeah, if they're like to make a cartoon about that, they'd have to figure some way around that. But
It's still very goofy and comic booky. Like
like
it doesn't.
Guri Hero's art is perfect for the tone that's
Oh,
going for.
Guri Hero's art's so good. I love everything I've seen them do.
Yeah, like I was a fan of them since like Power Pack back in the day.
Hmm.
Uh, like upon, but it was Guri Hero. Like I didn't connect that they were the same artist until later, and then because they had their style like it's evolved by so much
Yeah.
from to now. Even that and like and Superman smashes the clan was like it's like, oh yeah, Guru Hero, I have a name for that now. And I
Oh,
was like it's like it's like,
was,
oh yeah, that's it's like that's the Gwenpool artist. I know them. So,
I was so excited when I saw they're doing Superman smashes the Klan. Also, because like I'm a big fan of like the history of that story.
exactly. He smashed the clan in real life. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's so awesome. But let's get back to Gwen real quick. So I was
Yeah.
also going through Christopher Hastings' bibliography. He's mostly done like anything related to Gwenpool, like even if it's just like writing like one page of one issue.
Right. Like
I
did
haven't read a lot of the stuff that he's done. But
I know some Adventure Time comics.
yeah, he did some Adventure Time. I didn't read that because I wasn't into Adventure Time. I
Yeah.
remember Dr. McNinja, which was like his breakout like web thing, but I
Yeah.
never like read it. It was just kind of always on my periphery.
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was reading Axe Cop and they crossed over, so that's kind of what I read.
Got it. Yeah.
But it seems cool. I mostly know him because I listened to a lot of D&D like comedy podcasts, and one I
Right.
was listening to was Rude Tales of Magic, and it didn't take me it took me a while to realize it's like, oh, this Christopher Hastings that plays a skeleton like with a wig is that Christopher Hastings. Is like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And like I can definitely get his sense of humor and sensibilities with this character now that I know his some of his
Like
comic stuff.
I hold on. Like again, back to my read through. It was just like
Yeah.
it was like there was like a moment where one of my visuals was like, yeah, I it's like even if I didn't know that like Christopher Hastings was writing this, I would have guessed that he was just because this moment is like so his style for like uh
What's
it's
that?
like it was like when the team is breaking up and she was like, ah, got it, Gwen. No, I got it. See it. I'll come back. Okay, bye. And it's like and he was like saying like that's such a Dr. McNinja like style kind of like panels. I was like, all right, I do want to check that out soon. I do want to check it out.
Yeah, I just gotta find it. It's on the internet. It wasn't released as a
Yeah,
wasn't released as a I don't think it ever got a physical release. It might have had a limited run, but I know it was a web comic.
yeah,
But I can't recommend the book enough.
exactly.
How do we pitch this character to people that haven't read it? She's not really Deadpool, which is what I was happy about because I don't particularly like Deadpool, where he's just
I,
kind of very lol random and just constantly breaking the fourth wall. Like
yeah,
that's not to me very interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so if that was something you don't particularly like, then yeah, this is a good one to that don't let that
yeah.
hold that against you.
It's very beginner friendly too. Like
Yeah.
like usual disruptions in like continuity. Don't worry, Gwen will just be as confused as you are.
Well, so her thing is she's from like the real world and is like a big comic book nerd and is
Right.
kind of uh like I know she's a high school dropout, like she's kind of like drifting through life with no purpose. And they never
Yeah.
really explained how she winds up in the Marvel universe. So it's kind of an isekai. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Which kind
once
of
she
has
realizes she's
they
in a
kind of have
comic book, she's
to.
like, I got to become a superhero. Goes and applies to get a costume made. Her name is Gwen Poole, like in real life. So the person that did that thought she was like a Deadpool type character, so just made a design based on Deadpool. And it's kind of funny. That's
Yeah.
sort of what happened because he was a design based on Deadpool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's initially just kind of her trying to make her way in the world with like no superpowers and stuff.
Exactly.
Um, and yeah, like we mentioned, she joins MODOK like right off the bat and like is kind of a part of like a mercenary group, which has a couple of original characters and then like a really great reimagining of
That truck, the leaper.
Batroc the Leaper. Yeah. An old not old Fantastic Four, an old Captain America villain.
Yeah.
And it's like the perfect level of like obscure and silly kind of sounding, but like not used enough so they can kind of like reinvent him a little bit to fit what they were going for. And
Right. Like
unironically becomes one of the best characters in the comic.
exactly. Like I heard about that truck in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which sucked, but I was like, oh, funny French man who jumps around. That's kind of lame. It's kind of silly. And then I read this comic, and he makes me cry.
Yeah,
Like
I cry by the end of it. Yeah.
exactly. Like I cried every time. It's kind of insane. but
Yeah.
I guess that's what good writing does.
Well,
Wow.
I've always been of the opinion there's no reason that any character can't or any story can't be good. So you can take
Exactly.
like these obscure, like for lack of a better term, like joke characters that nobody takes seriously, like the readers and stuff. And then you can make them interesting. Like there's no reason to they shouldn't be interesting.
Exactly.
Um, but I do know eventually, like Gwenpool discovers she does have powers in a really fun thing.
Right.
And I guess it's kind of a way to play at like the fourth wall stuff, but like since she knows she's in a comic book, she actually plays with the format of the comic. Like she can hop out of the panels and move between them and like does a lot of really fun creative stuff. I really, really like.
Like,
I think that's when the book like goes from good to great.
yeah, like that's when the book hits like, all right, this is what it's all about. This is where we're gonna go. And it's sad because it was around that time that the book got canned.
And she knows that it's get canceled because she can see how many like pages she has left. It's like, oh no, it's coming
Just
up,
like
and
the
has an
way
existential crisis, and then that like has a
yeah, it's like
it has such a good last issue. Like
exact like
it's
even
like
though I
everything
have
I'd want it to be.
like even though I have the omnibus, I still went out of my way to get issue 25 in a single issue format just because it's like it was that good. And like
Oh yeah. See,
oh,
I was getting the floppies as they were coming out, and I've bought duplicates since then, just if they happen to come through the store like used, just in
yeah,
case I ever bump into these guys, I can get them signed. But
right.
like, I also bought the omnibus just because like they never keep any of her stuff in print. It has like all of her appearances because she was also in like West Coast Avengers,
Yeah.
a bunch of like little cameos, and so it
To
was
like
nice to have all of that in one spot.
yeah. So yeah, like Unbelievable has like one of the best like handlings of a cancellation that I've ever seen. Because it's something usually something like this just kind of ends or have to like wrap it up really quickly. This one's just like that's just gonna be the story now. That the cancellation is the story now, and
And you
it's
know,
really nice.
you look at it from a certain point of view, it's like she's looking at it as like her death. And it's like,
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, hey, it's okay. Things like you live on, you
right.
know, like,
It's
and
like
obviously that's not the last time they've done anything with her because they've done some comics since then. Obviously
it's
the asexual comic came out after that. I
it's
wasn't a big fan of Gwenpool Strikes Back, but you
I
know, it is what it
I
is.
like it more than most, but I will acknowledge that yeah, it's not for everyone, and that even and you can understand the point it's going for and still not like it. That's completely fine.
Yeah, because I get it, and I still don't like how we got there.
Yeah, I get it. I think it took a bit too long to get there, but
Yeah, well, it leaves a really bad first impression. So there is a
yeah,
part in Unbelievable where she does cross over with Deadpool, and they have a fight, and she mentions like she doesn't read Deadpool's comics because she
she finds
finds him like annoying and like his jokes are like too like memey and lol randomy. And then the very first page of Gwenpool Strikes Back, she's flossing and like sits on the reader like face, and it's just like, oh, this is so stupid.
and it's like when
And
you
it's
read on, you get it. It's like she's just doing this because she's just trying any kind of bottom of the barrel. She's spiraling. She's having a whole manic episode, and it's like I get it. I just think that it just sort of went like, yeah. I just think it needed to get to the point a little quicker. But
yeah,
I don't. Every time I've read Strikes Back, I liked it more. I think. I
I
think my
only read
most.
it as it was coming out, so maybe I should reread it.
I I think reading it after having the knowledge that Gwenpool was actually literally in danger of being shelved was like shelved by editorial
Yeah,
was helped me have a newfound appreciation for it. And I have seen some people say like, "Oh, I wish they did. I wish they didn't do anything after Unbelievable." But it's also like I can't agree with that because again, the way I got really into this character was a story was through a story that came out after Unbelievable. So like I can't necessarily fully agree with that. I can agree that Unbelievable is the perfect ending like for that series and probably for the character, but like even if
Well,
she did get shelved, I feel like a fan would have brought her back anyways because that's literally what Gwen says would happen in the end of the series. So like, you know,
I do think I would have been very satisfied if Unbelievable Gwenpool was the end of the character.
right.
Um, but I do think the ending for her is realizing that like her regular life is worth living, and like her
Ex-
going back to the real world is kind of where her character arc would eventually like that's how it would end. Since it's a Marvel comic book, it's never going to get to that point because they have to be able to use that character whenever they want.
Right.
Um, but you know, hey, I'm glad that she's having a moment right now. Let's talk Fortnite. Uh, I'm
Yeah.
shocked that they used her at all.
Uh, I know that she showed up in a lot of like because sometimes they'll do like surveys to be like, "Hey, what kind of things would you like to see in our game?" And I know she's popped up a few times, but I was just like, "Oh, that would be cool. I would really like that because I do play the game with my friends and like some of my brothers. So like, I do play, but I didn't think it would really happen. I mean, once the seasons got leaked and we knew there was a Marvel season coming up, I was like, hey, it'd be funny if it was Gwenpool showing up. Yeah. And then the Lego head got leaked. And
Hmm.
then like I think like at least five people literally just added me, just like, dude, Gwenpool is gonna come to Fortnite. And I was like, what? And I was just obsessed for the rest of the day because it's like holy crud. And like even when the trailer dropped, I was screaming, even though I knew she was already gonna come. But then
Yeah.
yeah, and then you know, I was just like, Kevin Feige was like, oh yeah, Fortnite can help people get into like these movies and characters and into the comics. And I was like, haha, well, it's like, that's it's like, yeah, good luck, Kevin. But I
So
guess
I
and then
think
it kind of worked.
well, part of what made me really excited is not only do you get her normal costume, you get like her, you can take the mask off, you can get her casual stuff. They haven't unlocked Dark Gwenpool yet, right? As of this recording.
No, you have to wait it like 25 days for it and
Yeah,
by
so it's still a ways off. Um,
yeah.
but I hate that it like worked on me. It's like, oh, they finally added like a character I like enough that I would show up. Like that I
Yeah,
would actually download and start playing this game. Because like up until now, I it annoys me when they're like, oh, here's Batman and Spider-Man, but it's a shooting game. I'm like, they're not what they would like. It feels out of character. Like one pool uses guns, so I was like, all right.
it's
But
there.
like she's such an obscure. I guess maybe obscure is not even the right word, but she's
Like
not like
I'd
a high tier character in terms of like public consciousness.
right. Like she's kind of only appeared in video games, and even then it's mostly mobile games. Like the only like console game that she's appeared in is Lego, but they put everyone in Lego except the
Yeah, so it
X-Men.
doesn't really even count. Like,
Yeah. So like but like yeah, I think something that sold it for me that they cared because it's like Heather Antos, the original editor for the Unbelievable Gwenpool, said that they gave her a an early build to play of the Fortnite season with Gwenpool. And I was like, because they were fans of the character. And I was like, wait, people are fans of the character?
yeah, that's what
Not
I said too.
not a bad way. It's just like, wait,
Plus her book didn't I can only speak for our store, but it like sold not that great. Like the people that liked it like loved it, but you know, off the
right,
shelf and stuff, like it just kind of was like, because I think people see her as either like like another Gwen Stacy knockoff or a Deadpool like knockoff. And like she's
right.
really neither of those. Like she's not Gwen
Yeah,
Stacy at all.
yeah. You have
And
to
she's
get
not like
past.
Deadpool at all either.
Yeah, you have to get past like the initial like concept to be like, because if you don't know me, I am not a huge fan of Gwen Stacy, and particularly Marvel's recent like how they use her in things.
Oh, we
It's
can get
just
into that if you want.
I I'd rather not. I just
Yeah.
okay. One thing I will say, I feel like the confusion of Gwenpool and Gwen Stacy would still exist, but wouldn't be as bad if Marvel didn't try to keep making the actual other Marvel Gwen heroes a thing, like a real thing. Like Gwenverse was awful.
So stupid.
It's just like, why is this a thing? And thankfully, they didn't try to shoehorn Gwen into it outside of one variant cover. Like that,
Here's
it's like,
it's hard to talk about Spider-Gwen without talking about Gwenpool anymore. Like Spider-Gwen was popular because it was a good character in a good world. Like it was a cool takeoff. And then she had her own series for a while, but then, the for several reasons like that kind of like ended, but the character was still popular. But, like
right,
they don't know what to do with this character, so they keep stripping away everything that makes her unique. Like now
right,
she's in the regular universe with Peter Parker and everything, and it's just like, now she's not her own Spider-Woman. She had an interesting world, and I know you don't have that at all. And it's
yeah,
really annoying. And now in other media, they give her Gwen Poole's hair, which will make
yeah.
people more confused
I
with like
was,
the pink highlights. It's like,
yeah. I can't look at those now without thinking about how an animator actually used a Gwenpool page as like, I guess, color reference or something. And I
and
was
like,
like, how? It's like that's fine, but also it was like it was a page that was undoubtedly Gwenpool. Like you couldn't have confused it. Like it was her walking on top of all the panels. It's like Spider Gwen doesn't do that, but but
yeah,
like
but it's like
yeah,
it's annoying. Like I like the Spider-Verse movies, and I love Haley
I
Steinfeld as her. But like, yeah, it's just an annoying thing. Like I love her design except for that, because I'm like, that's not. I'm like, all she's gonna do is cause confusion. And then Spidey and his amazing friends. My friend has a 4-year-old who's like in love with, which is cool. She wants to
yeah,
grow up and be Spider-Man when she grows up, so that's fun. But like,
that's cute.
she's Gwen Poole in it. Like it's annoying.
Yeah,
Taking a
I don't
character I love that's like kind of not like a struggle, like her a big part of her comic is struggling for relevancy and being
exactly.
unique, and like they take away like some of her cool unique stuff and give it to a character that does not need it because they don't
Right.
have any ideas of what to do with this character.
Yeah. I think the biggest distillation between modern Spider Gwen, I don't know why I say modern considering she's only been around for like a decade, but
Yeah.
like between like Spider Gwen and Gwenpool is that with Spider Gwen, everything like everything after the main series, she kind of gets stuff taken away from her.
Hmm.
And well, with Gwenpool, she gets more stuff to her. Like everything after Unbelievable has at least tried something new with the character. Whether or not you like what they did is up to debate. Like that's subjective, but like
Yeah, that's
they at
fine.
least tried something new, and I think that's has helped. And I think it has given enough of a foundation to like make a new solo series, give her another shot at an ongoing, and try some and play with those new elements and make something new without having to worry about living in the shadow of Unbelievable. You know,
I would honestly say I would kind of prefer like maybe if she was on like a Champions or a Defenders kind of
right?
team.
I've heard that too. Just like if she was on like this is a another podcast my friend was on. I did ask a question, just like, "Hey, what would you do with Gwenpool?" And he was saying like, "I probably wouldn't give her write her in a solo, but I would probably write her in like with another character who always gets like minis and can't ever get to that like super popular echelon." And
Yeah,
Gwen
that'd be
like,
fun.
"Hey, that's like it's like, hey, I've been there, it's fine. People like your fan base will stick by you, and you will like this won't be the end for you and stuff. Like I think that could be a good use for her. So if you because Gwenpool is admittedly a hard character to write and pitch because
Mhm.
you have to go big or go home with her. With especially with her gimmick, you have to push the medium. You can't just make another comic. You have to go all the way, which I think can be a struggle. Not to knock any creators, because I'm not about that, unless they're, pieces of crap. But,
Yeah.
like, but like And
Well,
so
like
I think that
creating anything is so difficult that like it's amazing anything gets made, even if it's bad. So
right. And like so I think that aspect can make it hard for her, but I think it is also Marvel very much having a sort of lack in confidence and if this book doesn't sell out like 3 times, then we're just gonna cancel it by like issue 10. And it's very sad to see, and I wish we could see a change in the industry that because I feel like DC is doing a good job on this front, and especially with the compact editions they're putting out. It's like I
yeah.
think if Marvels could kind of get on that some of that.
Oh, I love the compact editions. They're all banger stories. They're all at least like 12 issues long, and they're all $10.
And yeah, I got the Watchmen one yesterday, even though I already have like a big copy of Watchmen because I thought like, hey, if I'm just going on like a trip, I can just bring the compact edition and it won't take up much space. So
Oh yeah, that's what they're also meant to be, the travel editions. Like I love them. But yeah, no, like Marvel simultaneously has too many titles, and then but like they're all like flash in the pan, like 4 or 5 issue things. Like
right, and
they don't seem to want to really commit to stuff, and it's like
yeah,
nonstop, like Venom or like Venom
yeah,
books. Like it's really annoying.
right. It's just like I feel like there
I
probably needs to be a little bit of a creative overhaul, but I'm just a fan who's saying this. I got no say in that, obviously.
I mean, just
I
because
mean,
I sell them doesn't mean I get to say anything special either.
right.
Um, it's
I'm
just,
just
it's just annoying. They put out so many books, and like
it feels like
I would
there's
rather get some quality over quantity, both as a distributor and as a fan.
right.
Like Miss Marvel doesn't get ongoings anymore either, and she was a really popular big seller for
She's like
like a long time.
I think I was going to say earlier when you're talking about like the popularity of the character. I'd
Yeah,
say of the characters introduced in like the past like like not century. I can't believe I almost said century.
past decade.
Almost as past decade,
Yeah,
I would rank higher. I would rank Gwenpool higher than most, but she's not at like Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, or I guess even Spider Gwen level. But she's like right below there to the point where it's like if you gave her the right exposure, she could be, and which
I
I
agree.
think Fortnite just having that, and I think her probable lack of popularity was what made her popular, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
like,
it's all of a sudden this character, like, oh, she seems fun. Like, I don't know anything about her.
yeah, so, like you all know Black Panther, Mysterio, like we all know those characters, but like all of those people have been in movies, so they're already in the game. But Gwenpool was like the character is like, oh, I don't know that character. Maybe I could learn about them. And this is something another person pointed out. I'm 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 repeating a lot of stuff here, but like where because Fortnite's player base is so big that even if like a small percentage of players got to know Gwenpool, that's still a lot of people
Yeah,
learning about.
it's a big platform. I'm really happy she's in it. But it's like crazy that she's in the same pack that like or the same past that like introduced like War Machine, a character I would think of they would have put in way before like Gwenpool,
Right. And
you
like
know?
and it was crazy playing those early days too, because like you'd be hard pressed to go to a server where there wasn't at least like 2 Gwenpools.
I
And
just keep seeing a handful of them all the time, no matter what.
right.
So I in Fortnite I tend to play like the other modes rather than Battle Royale. I find it very frustrating.
Creative
Uh,
maps are fun. But
so I just want to explore like Doom's Castle and stuff, and then people just like kill me out of nowhere. I'm like this, or like
right.
I've beaten Mysterio and I've beaten Emma Frost, and like I haven't been able to like collect any of the rewards because as soon as I beat them, someone just comes and kills me and takes everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Uh
just like I'm not a competitive guy in
that
video
no
games. I'm also not a shooting game guy. I, however, really like Rock Band, so I've been playing a lot of like that mode of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not too much into rhythm game stuff, so I
Yeah,
don't play that game mode very often. I think I played around with some of my friends, and I just kind of sucked at it. But I was having fun
that's
anyways
fine.
with my friends. But
But
yeah, I
it is
I
kind of cool that like
miss.
it has other. It's not just the battle royale anymore. Which,
Yeah,
all right. So I have a perspective. I had never played Fortnite before this, and it's
yeah,
not. It's just because like it's just not my kind of game. Like I
right.
said, I wasn't in. I'm not into competitive games. I'm not into shooters. So it's like
Yeah,
a competitive shooter. Like I'm not interested.
yeah,
But so because I guess because it's changed so much and adds so much. As a first time player jumping in now, the menus are like incomprehensible. It's just like walls of stuff happening. I'm like, I
yeah,
don't know what it's like it's so hard to parse if you don't know what you're looking for. I've
yeah,
eventually figured it out, but it's just like, oh my God. I just want to unlock this character.
yeah. I I've been playing for a while, so I was able to so I was able to figure out my way around. But like, if I was thinking of something, but like,
Well,
uh,
speaking of Gwen in non-comic book media,
right.
um, yeah,
I was gonna say something. Right, I
yeah,
remember now. I would be remiss if I did like just put a shout out to like the Gwen Cord, which is like a Gwenpool Discord server range, like Gwenpool type like gate, not Gwenpool type games, but like they just play on Fortnite. They just get like 100 people on one map, and they're all communicating with each other. Like there's some people that are like highlighted, so they're in charge of the thing, and
yeah.
it's just all chill. Like we'll just go to Storm Doom's castle and just pickaxe him to death because we could
Oh,
do
that's
that.
yeah. See, I got to get on that because that's more what I want to do. I don't get me wrong. I'll play a shooting game when it's competitive. So what I really need to do is squad up eventually in it.
Right.
I haven't been doing dailies. I've just been kind of playing because she's
Yeah.
tier one, so I got all of the Gwenpool stuff like immediately. So I was pretty happy.
And I think yeah, that was really nice. Which I think that also helped with
Yeah,
like tier one, so you everyone gets her immediately. So
yeah. Like to be fair, I do want to eventually get Doctor Doom, but I know he's like end of the season thing.
and I think and you have to do and I don't think it's I hope it's not too grindy. You just got to do like these specific quests. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I hope that's what it is. And it's cool because I'm also I'm a big Fantastic Four guy, and that's another property that has a lot of problems with like the mainstream, like getting people into them.
it's like it's like
Because yeah,
guys,
they get
like
movies, but the
so
movies suck. So
and yeah, it's like guys, which, thank gosh Ryan North's Fantastic Four is not ending November because I was very worried about that when it didn't show up on solicits, but then it was just like no, we were just a little late to do it. So
I have a well,
still
I have a feeling that book's gonna get relaunched with the number one before you know it. Not saying not saying Ryan North will get off of it, but I have a
right.
feeling like it's gonna be a new volume soon, especially when the new movie comes out, like they'll relaunch it to be more like that because that's what they
Yeah.
always
If
do.
it's yeah, if it's the and everyone in the family is still doing stuff, then I'll be happy because oh my gosh, Sue Storm is allowed to do things. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
yes. Sue's great. I love the FF. But speaking about Gwenpool, so Gwenpool outside of the medium of comics, I don't like I can't imagine a movie or a TV show with her working because I
Yeah,
think that her playing with the comic book nature of it is so
right.
specific and unique that like I don't want like we already had She-Hulk like run around the Disney Plus like select
Yeah,
screen. Just like you can't really like do anything like interesting like that with Gwen now.
yeah.
And
I
we've already had the Gremlins cut up the film reel in Gremlins 2, so it's like, nothing she's gonna do is gonna seem that cool or unique. We already have Deadpool movies where he talks to the audience and stuff.
I, I think an animated project could work. I mean, if you know me, then you know that I've basically just all out. I just all out say, yeah, I've written a whole outline for a Gwenpool cartoon,
I know
and it's
I've
like,
read it.
yeah, I think it could work, but I also think that's like you would have to adjust to the medium so much to make it work the same way. And even then, if I was working on the show and I was promoting the show, I would just be like, you should read the comic. just read the comic and yeah,
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying I don't
give it
trust the powers that be to make it good. Does that
creativity
make any sense?
and to make it work. You because
Yeah.
yeah,
Now,
and
if Christopher Hastings is writing it and Guru Hiro's art is like what's inspired by it, I will check it out. But I will check
exactly.
it out regardless. What
If
am I
I were
saying?
to Hastings to help produce the show and maybe write a few episodes, and
Yeah.
have Gwen Hero do like art for the show, like directions and stuff. It's like
Well, kind
I
of
would
like
try
yeah,
that
kind of like how
to
Sean
what
Galloway did Spectacular Spider-Man's art.
it's like. Hey, it's like make it faithful to the source material, and also make sure the creators get paid.
Yeah, I was thinking about that in my research for this. I was like, who gets credit for making this character? Is it just Chris Bachalo because he drew that comic she comes from? Or is it Christopher Hastings because he actually gave the character like the
Yeah,
personality?
yeah. I know Heather Antos also like she was right in the bar where Christopher Hastings as they were coming up with the character.
Well, all right. Well, here's the thing, like editors don't get credit because they're like not freelance,
Yeah,
which is
that's
why
the
like all of that stuff with oh God, I'm forgetting his name in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, like
yeah.
pissed everyone in the comic industry off because everyone that created Wolverine like is dead now. And he was like,
Right.
well, I was the editor. And like now he's sharing like they put his name in the credit for it. Rob Thomas. Uh
Oh, Roy Thomas. Oh,
yeah, and like he's also a known like jerk. So
yeah. I was just like, yeah, buddy. There's a reason Jack Kirby made fun of you in New Gods. So made fun of you and Stan. So
and like oh man, yeah, credit and all this stuff, like it sucks. Like I can't believe
yeah,
Jack Kirby died like broke. Like it's insane.
that's
How this industry does not treat its creators well.
it does not. And like so if I was to have any kind of say in it, I would get the creators like on board all the way, just like, all right, we're gonna make sure you get what you deserve and you're gonna have fun while doing it.
Yeah, and like yeah, she's a character that really tickles like my writer like funny bone, where it's like, oh, you can do all these like fun gags with like the comics and stuff. Like I've seen
Right.
so much creative things people have like fan art people have made. Like
Like I
it's
this is
really exciting, you know?
it's just this fan art versus just trying to escape Twitter. And it's like, yeah, mood.
Yeah. Like the Gwenaissance that we're experiencing is really exciting.
Yeah, like it's insane. Like I've seen so many people just be like, all right, I'm now reading the Unbelievable Gwenpool, and they finish it in like a day. And I'm just like, how? And I remember, oh yeah, it's only like 25 issues.
25
Like,
issues and like it's good, so you don't want to put it down.
right. When I
Yeah.
yeah, I think I was yeah. I pace myself during when I'm reading, so I only read like three or so issues. Like I rarely binge like, comics, honestly.
It depends
But
on the comic for me, but I usually will read like a whole trade paperback in one sitting.
I can slip into binging, but I have to like be in a mood for it. Yeah.
It depends how heavy the like not physically heavy, but how like dense the book is. Like Watchmen, I can't really read in one sitting, but like or like
Yeah.
Mouse especially I can't. But like Bone, I've read the entire thing in one sitting. That's like 55 issues.
Right. Gosh, I
You
love
know?
Bone. I need to get a physical copy of it.
Oh,
It's not.
Bone's
It's
so good. Get
it's
the
on.
get if you don't mind it being black and white, the one volume is the greatest way to get it. I think it's like
I
$40 and you get the whole series.
I know. I think that's the edition that I have on my Amazon wanted list.
Oh
So like,
man, when I was 17, I got my first job at a comic book store, and
uh,
that book came out while I was working there. And I remember
uh,
because I had read some issues of it as a kid, like in Disney Adventures and stuff, and I was like, oh, this book's that's the whole thing. I was like, oh, I'll pick it up, and then like I read the whole thing in like a day. I was like, oh my God, this was so. And I was like gushing about it to everyone. I was all my comic book friends I was talking
I
to at
read
the
it
time.
in school, like because it's like I have a hard I have a hard time reading like novel prose stuff. I just kind of always have. It's just like my brain. I'm autistic.
Yeah,
Stuff can be hard for me, but so like comics was always like a much more accessible way for me to read, and like Bone was a big part of reading that out, and it's like, whether it's my school library or my public library, I was like, Bone, Bone, Bone. We got to have that. Okay, Bone sounds in that could be taken way out of context.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're a couple asexual guys, so I hope nobody does.
We all made it that way.
Yeah. But no, that's a great book. Like that's one of the ones I anyone can kind of get into it regardless of age, and it's a good
That's
like gateway
that's a
comic book.
yeah, exactly.
And I have a feeling like if I discovered Gwenpool's books like at the same time, I would have had a similar reaction to it.
Right.
Maybe not like a perfect like I can hand it to anybody, but like if it
Yeah,
does
like
kind of help if you like are familiar with Marvel,
yeah, and like
but
stuff
it's
like
still really good. Like anyone can enjoy it. Like I'm really glad we lived in the time where we got Unbelievable Gwenpool, we got Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and we got Miss Marvel's book at the same like ongoings at the same time. Like
ah, where did we go wrong?
I don't know, they didn't sell well enough, I guess.
I guess it's like yeah.
But all right, well, any closing thoughts on Miss
Did we talk
Poole
about the
here?
asexual stuff?
What's up?
Did we talk about the ace stuff with her?
Oh, we
Or
ended up talking about it earlier, so unless there's
well,
anything specific you want to bring up with it.
I'm just like, can we give Jeremy Whitley a chance to Gwenpool ongoing? He's really good at writing messy, emotional women, as from what I've been able to read of his work. So like, I think he could do it. I think he has like my favorite voice for Gwen after Hastings.
Yeah, that would
Honestly,
be cool.
like
Well,
I'd like to see that.
well,
I
yeah, the future of the character, like it's as excited as I am, they already took a character I really like and made her made her asexual, which is an underrepresented thing that, and I am too. It did kind of throw her into like she only shows up in the Pride issues for like 3 pages now, as like
and
their
even it was
character.
only on the cover for this year's because they made it an X-Men special at the same
Yeah,
time. It was like that feels like you're cheaping out, but all right. Because
I think if I was into X-Men, I would have liked it because it allowed that story to be a lot bigger, and the
yeah,
Mystique Destiny thing like goes back to like the 80s when they
yeah,
couldn't be like explicitly gay.
right. Like I get why it's a big deal, but I'm also like it is really like it's a good X-Men wedding special. It's not a great Pride special because it's like kind of like just that,
Yeah, I
but
feel like
it's
they could have done Marvel Voices and that as a special things, but
right. But
at the end of the
I
day, like
I
I
think
was only going to pick it up for Gwenpool for like 1 page, so it's like whatever.
yeah, and it's like I think yeah, I did write. I know I said I get nervous about writing stuff to editors, but like I did write a like email things, being like, "Hey, Gwenpool hasn't really showed up in much anything after she came out. Like the only thing she showed up in has been in web comics. Is there
And
any way
like
to fix it? Or
yeah, and she's been in the background of X-Men stuff because she retconned herself to be a mutant for that reason.
yeah, but and mostly it's Jeff has been kind of where she's had her most of her appearances nowadays.
And don't be wrong, I love Jeff and
Exactly.
his books, but
I love him, but also it's like
she
it's
doesn't
kind
get to
of
talk about it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's also kind of insane that the shark got to eclipse her in popularity somehow.
You know what's crazy? So they just put Gwenpool in Fortnite and they just put Jeff in that like Overwatch ripoff that they made.
It's like they're separated. No.
But it's like crazy that they're like front and center in like these two games that are going. Like to be fair, Fortnite's not a Marvel game, but like just
Right.
it's still a massive game and like it made a huge splash like her especially in it. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It's cool.
Yeah.
I
Hopefully,
don't know
it's on
if I don't know if I have like a lot of faith in the future of Gwenpool. Like I'm there for it. I hope it's going to be good, but I'm
yeah.
not sure what they're going to do next.
Yeah. I'm just like I would need to know a creative team and what creative teams would you like to see handle the character outside of the obvious bring back Christopher Hastings and Guri Hero?
I mean,
Because
that's my dream team for her. But
like
um
as much as I say, hey guys, we can't all it can't always be Hastings and Guri Hero. We have to accept other takes. If Gwenpool and Guri Hero, if Guri Hero and Hastings announce that, yeah, we're gonna do Unbelievable Gwenpool Volume 2, I would be like first in line to pick it up. and like
Oh yeah,
I,
I'll get all the variants. I'll get everything.
variant, I'll do everything I need
Yeah, I
to it.
don't know who I'd want to. I don't have a particular person who I'd want. I probably because we just were talking about him, so he's on my mind. But I think Ryan North would do a good job because he also did a very good job. Jughead was very good. I don't know if you read that from
Yeah,
Archie a couple years ago. Jughead was
yeah,
great. It's Squirrel Girl was obviously I liked that. Like
yeah.
I think he got the right sensibility, but someone like that will keep it kind of like light and fun like that would be great.
I've heard
Um,
like Ted and Rose Stein could be good, and then like I know they're also asexual creators, so I I think that could be a good choice. And they did the art for the Connor Hawk Green Arrow story a couple years back,
okay,
where
I like that
basically,
art. Yeah,
yeah, they confirmed him as asexual. Yeah, I think that was the first like
it was its first
character,
DC. It was at least one
and
of the first DC ones.
yeah, where it was like one of the first DC ones. Like, but yeah, I can count. I need like I can count the amount of ace characters on like less than two hands. Well, I mean, like I don't need two whole hands to count them, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly about the number, but also it's like, geez, it's
They're
only
not
that
really
many.
like around. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the big
it's like
one's Jughead, and it's like nobody reads Archie.
like everybody reads Archie, but nobody reads Archie.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
I'm not trying to knock Archie. I like Archie stuff, but
yeah,
I see the
yeah,
sales numbers as a retailer. Like
yeah.
I also see like nobody's asking me for that. So I don't
It's
know.
like,
I
and
think
I
I
think
hope that this Fortnite excitement people have, I hope A, it lasts, and B, I hope Marvel or Disney or whoever needs to listen to it like is paying attention. Maybe if we at least get a four issue series, I'll take it.
right, like, and comics take a while to make, so if it was going to lead to a comic, then be for a while. Like I think the most immediate thing would probably be like if they made like a tie-in comic to the Fortnite season, but I feel like they would have announced that earlier if it was going to happen.
Oh
So I
yeah,
don't
I don't
think
think
it's
that's gonna happen. But like
yeah,
at the very least, I would like this to be a thing where like, oh, her like regular volumes are back in stock, like something affordable that
something
I
like
can
that.
put in people's
Split
hands.
in half, so, like maybe up to issue 17 for the first volume, and then like maybe that's still a little not exactly half, but whatever. But
Even if it's just the regular like six issue volumes like they did before, like just something I
yeah,
can like I can get a bunch of volume one, keep it on my shelf. Someone asks like, "Oh, that character from that game." I'd be like, "Oh, here you go. Like try this out. If you like this, here's more you can get." But it's like,
right, like
under $20, someone might actually buy it. Versus
yeah,
again, I love the omnibus,
I love
but
the
I
omnibus.
recognize that $125 is not the average
Also,
person.
I got it for free. So like
Well,
you
you're
know,
well, whatever. No, we're not all so lucky here.
yeah, I know.
But
Unfortunately,
I'm just teasing you.
but I know.
But yeah,
Like
I at the
friend
very
wants
least, I
my
hope,
omnibus,
yeah.
but I haven't gotten around to it. Part of me has considered just another one,
I'll be honest with
but
you. I
also
so I bought the Guru Hero cover. I didn't
yeah,
get the direct market one, which is the Deadpool Secret Wars like variant, her first appearance. Part of
yeah,
me does kind of want it, but it's like I can't justify the price.
yeah.
But
Uh, I I think it was like back issue where I was looking at. It's like I could make like $80 for the omnibus. I could buy that for someone else, I guess. Maybe. Who knows?
yeah, we'll see. But
But
hopefully we got people at least relatively interested in reading your comic. If you want to get an actual like history of the character, Comic Drake has a very good video on YouTube.
yes, yes. That was another big in for me because
Yeah.
I think that was what helped me like Strikes Back as much as I did because I watched his videos on it before I actually read the comic.
Yeah, going
Don't
into that
do
comic
that.
cold was rough.
Yeah, which go don't just watch YouTube videos. Do read the comics, please.
The comics very worth very worth reading. I can't recommend enough. It's a thing I highly recommend. It really frustrates me that it's a people ask me for recommendations. I can't put a Gwenpool book in their hand. Um,
Exactly.
I mean, that's not to say I can't put a lot of other great books in people's hands, but like this one specifically, like now, hurts that people are actually like interested in this character and asking about
Yeah,
it.
it's like I wish I could, but unfortunately, yeah.
Well, I think that'll probably do us for this episode. Hudson, where can they find you again?
Uh, you can find me on the Spectacular Spider Talk, where we are currently reading the lead Ditko Amazing Spider-Man era. You can also find me at Spider Knight Art on pretty much all platforms. That's where I do most of my art posting and rambling. And I also have a zine, part of a zine coming up where it's like a homage to the Marvel swimsuit era, and I do have several pieces in there that do involve Gwenpool. So
I've
keep
seen
an
them.
eye
They're
out.
very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do us for this episode. So until next time, guys, be safe.